Hello! I'm going to be reading kind of an odd book for you today. It's called Marie and Her Seven Little Daddies. And the reason I have this book in the first place is because I'm taking a class right now called Children's Literature. So it's a college class where I learn about kids' books. And in this class I have to do a project. The project is a text set project, so a set of books. I have to pick a topic, any topic, and then go look up some books that fit into that topic. And the topic I chose was non-traditional families. So to me, a traditional family is a mom who's female and a dad who's male living together in the same home with their biological kids. That means kids who are not adopted. And they're all the same race. That's what I think of when I think of a traditional family. And then a non-traditional family is everything else. And honestly, I think there are probably more non-traditional families out there than traditional. Because non-traditional could mean that the mom and dad, or the dad and dad, or the mom and mom, are different races. It could mean that the parents are divorced. It could mean having a step family. It could mean living with grandparents, or maybe a parent's in jail, or a parent might be in the army, so they're traveling a lot. It could be a lot of things. I completely forgot to mention like the most obvious types of non-traditional families, and that's where the parents aren't married, and that could be because they never got married, whether they live together or not, and it could also be that they used to be married and then they got divorced. Like, that's how my parents are. It was pretty easy to find most of those books that I was looking for, but the type of family that I had a really hard time finding a book about is a non-traditional family where the parents are allowed to be in love with more than one person. So like the mom or dad can be in love with the person they're married to. I don't know why I keep saying married. Nobody has to be married for a family to be a family. Can be in love with the person they're married to, and other people also. And that's called non-monogamy, or some people call it polyamory, but it was really hard to find a book about that, and this is the closest thing I could find. It's the only book on the topic I could find in the whole wide internet, and it was published in 1991 in Sweden. But I got an English version, and I think it's really funny. I don't know if you'll think it's really funny, but I laughed out loud a couple of times. And there are a few very odd things about it. The first two are very obvious. She has 7 dads. We're not used to that. And they're little. They're tiny, itty bitty dads. Definitely not used to that. And there's one more thing that I think is even more strange. Well, it's stranger than the 7 dads, but it's probably not as strange as them being tiny. And I want to see if you find the same thing. So as I read, try to think about what kinds of things in this book you can relate to, and what kinds of things are totally different that you've never seen before.
Marie and Her Seven Little Daddies by Pija Lindenbaum. Adapted by Gabrielle Charbonnet. And here's a picture of them in Rome, on a vacation being tourists. My name is Marie. Every night I sit here by the window, waiting for my daddies to come home. I love my daddies, all 7 of them. My daddies work in the city. They have an office where they sell car phones. Sometimes they bring me little presents from the city, like a pistachio nut bar maybe. Once they brought me a toy horse. If you're wondering, this is what a pistachio nut bar looks like. And there's the toy horse. After dinner, my daddies usually play with me. But if they are too tired, they just want to relax with the newspaper. My daddies are so busy, they even work at home at night, stacking papers and sorting them and piling them up. Then I can help. I make holes with my hole puncher. I save all the paper dots so I can have confetti later. And there they are reading the newspaper. They are too tired to play Monopoly with her. And then there she is, punching holes in their papers and collecting the confetti. Uh-oh, they look mad. Look at all those eyebrows. Sometimes my daddies don't appreciate what a big help I am. Then they say, 8 o'clock, time for bed. Oh, maybe they didn't want their papers hole punched. My daddies always take turns reading my good night story. Each daddy reads one line, but they get mixed up and can't remember whose turn it is. It's very confusing, especially if one daddy falls asleep and loses his place. It wears me out. I almost always fall asleep before the end. Then my daddies climb down and tiptoe out of the room. And there they are, reading The Little Prince. Or trying to read The Little Prince. That daddy's already asleep. That daddy's falling asleep. Every day, my life is the same. I get up, go to school, go to my afternoon play group, then my mom picks me up, and we go home. I wait for my daddies to come home. Today is no different. When Mom calls me for breakfast, I snuggle deep under my blanket. See? Me. There she is. Come on, honey, we're running late. She says this every morning. I snuggle deeper. Mom comes into my room and throws open my window. Rise and shine, she says cheerfully. Today I beat my daddies to the bathroom. Outside the door, I hear them complaining. Else Marie, get a move on, says one daddy. Honey, let's go, we're late, another daddy says. What is she doing there for so long? Asks a third daddy. And these daddies are not being very patient. And look at, probably because they're so sleepy with those dark circles under their eyes. I don't know what they're grumbling about. I hurry all I can. Do you think she's really hurrying? Sitting there on the toilet with her Band-Aid and her comic book? And then there are little socks being cleaned in the bucket over there. When we all sit down at the breakfast table, I start to dig all the raisins out of my raisin bread, as usual. Then Mom says something awful, something horrible. I can't pick you up after playgroup, Elsmarie. I have to work overtime tonight. Your daddies will pick you up instead. I am so upset that I eat the raisin bread with the raisins still in it. I can hardly swallow. How will my daddies pick me up? They've never done it before. And all my friends at playgroup just have one daddy. One big one. You can see on her face that she's kind of upset. She thinks it's a pretty big deal. But look at them. They're just eating their breakfast like everything's normal. I follow Mom to their room and help make the bed. I can get home by myself, I say. I'm old enough. I know how. Elsmarie, don't be silly. Aren't you glad your daddies can pick you up so you don't have to ride the bus alone? My breakfast lies like a lump in my stomach. Miss Barnwell at the afternoon playgroup will make fun of my 7 little daddies. I mean, just look at them. Right now they are jumping on the bed and singing. The itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Then up came the mommy to make her feather bed, and the dizzy little daddies fell down upon their heads. Oh no, they're right. Look at that daddy. He's falling on his head right there. It's not good for your neck. Don't try that at home. I feel sick inside. Who else's daddies do this? No one's. I'm the only one with daddies like this. Mom says, run and get dressed, honey. Nothing goes right when I try to get dressed. My scratchy socks are the only ones clean. I put on my favorite red pants to cheer myself up, and the zipper breaks. You could wear your brown ones, Mom says. Not those pants. They're ugly. They're too small. Ugly and small. My daddies yell, Elsmarie, listen to your mother and get dressed, please. I put on the horrible brown pants. My scratchy socks show at the bottom. Don't forget to pick up Else Marie today, my mom says to my daddies as they leave. There they go out the door with their hats and briefcases and a little kiss. I don't know if people still use briefcases anymore. Seems like they can store all their stuff on a computer instead. Mom and I walk to the bus stop. She seems to think that everything is fine, but nothing is fine. I look out the window and see Greg's sister walking her big white dog, Spike. My stomach gives a little hop. Spike loves to chase small animals. What if Greg's sister brings Spike to pick up Greg at my afternoon play group? What if Spike chases my daddies up a tree? I moan and lean my head against the window. This is our stop, Else Marie. Don't you want to ring the bell? Mom asks. I can't think about bells right now. I have more important things on my mind. They'd have to be expert climbers to get up that tree away from the dog so fast. I wonder Else Marie isn't worried. My day at school passes in a blur. My penmanship is awful. I can't concentrate. When my teacher asks me how much are 2 potatoes plus 5 potatoes, I say 7 daddies. Everyone laughs. I don't think it's funny. After recess is art class. Draw whatever you want, our teacher says. Anything at all. I usually love to draw, but today my mind is blank. Finally, I draw a big sausage in the middle of my paper. That is a very nice hippopotamus, Else Marie, my teacher says. It just needs some legs. So I put legs on my sausage and my teacher smiles. Then school is over for the day. I walk to the afternoon playgroup very, very slowly. My heart feels very heavy inside. My socks itch. We're making birdhouses at playgroup. I've already finished mine. Joanna, Greg, Stevie, and I decide to play house with our dolls. Steve gets mad at how I'm playing house. No, no, Else Marie, don't put the baby to bed like that, he yells. You wouldn't be home from work yet. Wait till I tell you that you're home. Suddenly, I have another bad thought. What if, when my daddies come to pick me up, the kids try to play with them? My daddies might be in a hurry to get home, but the kids will pick them up and say, Now, let's sing Rockabye Baby, okay? My daddies will be furious, but the kids won't care. Well, they're checking out the daddies, and they're chasing them around, putting them in dresses and in strollers and piggyback rides. But you can tell that this isn't real, because when it's real life, the drawings are color, and when it's her imagination, they're sepia. It's like almost black and white, more like brown and white. Miss Barnwell comes up to me and says, Why, Else Marie, you look pale. Why don't you go lie down in the staff room for a moment? Here in the staff room, it's nice and quiet. I can be alone and think. Miss Barnwell gave me a glass of juice and some crackers. Once in a while, she comes in and strokes my forehead and asks if I feel better. I say, not yet. On the table is a piece of leftover cake with yellow icing. It's better than the crackers. Lying here in this room, I almost forget about when my daddies will come pick me up. I try to think nice thoughts instead. I feel so warm and comfortable here. Miss Barnwell calls, Come everyone, story time. Miss Barnwell is reading Black Beauty, and all the kids rush over and sit on the floor in front of Miss Barnwell's chair. But what's this? Miss Barnwell doesn't see my daddies. They're all smushed flat. No, I shout. I sit up and look around sleepily. This room gives me bad dreams. On my way to the playroom, I hear Greg shout, Else Marie, your daddies have come. Oh, good, I hear Miss Barnwell say. It's so nice when parents come and we can show them what we do every day. We're not doing anything interesting, I say quickly. Let's just go home now. But Else Marie, says Miss Barnwell, wouldn't your daddies like to hear Black Beauty? Oh no, I don't think so, I say, shaking my head. But my daddies are already following Miss Barnwell toward the playroom. And look at everybody is looking at her like she's the odd one. No one is looking at her daddies like they're the odd ones. That's surprising, isn't it? Strangely enough, nobody seems to notice that my daddies are little, and that there are 7 of them. Greg shows them we're making birdhouses. "We used to love birds when we were young," one daddy says. "Remember when we studied them and went on bird-watching expeditions?" Another daddy asks. That's all it takes. Soon my daddies are imitating bird calls and telling stories about all the strange birds they've seen. I've heard all this 100 times before, but everyone else thinks it's great. I guess not everyone's daddy knows so much about birds. I wonder why they know so much about birds. My daddies check all the birdhouses to make sure no nails are coming up inside. Finally, I relax a little. I show them my own birdhouse. My daddies seem very impressed. When Miss Barnwell reads Black Beauty, we all listen patiently. No one sits on my daddies. Finally, we go catch our bus home. I skip all the way to the stop. It's a nice afternoon, crisp and clear. On the bus, we get my favorite seat. "How's your day, Elsemarie?" one of my daddies asks. "Oh, it was fine," I say. "I drew a picture of a hippopotamus that my teacher thought was very nice." We chat for another while longer, then my daddy sorts some papers and I look out the window. There's Greg's sister walking Spike again. He looks like a happy dog. He has nice pink ears that I bet are very soft. At our stop, I get to ring the bell before anyone else. My daddies take my hands as we walk along our street. At the corner bakery, we all stop. "We're thinking we should buy some cream puffs to take home," my daddies say. There's a cream puff. "Oh, that's just what I'm thinking too," I say happily. It's a perfect way to end the day. My daddies make fried fish for dinner. Usually I hate it, but tonight it tastes fine. I have 5 pieces. Then we all have cream puffs. We decide to split the last one 8 ways. My mom comes home from work and eats her dinner. We don't mention the cream puffs. Then we all curl up together looking at our photo album. There are some funny pictures of us last Christmas. And here's one from our vacation in Greece. Whoops, I guess I was wrong. I thought that was Rome. Rome's in Italy. We had such a good time there. I sigh and lean my head against my mother's shoulder. Isn't it lucky that my daddies are so little that we can all fit in my mom's lap? Wow. That's a lot of people to have on your lap. I wouldn't trade my 7 little daddies, not for all the daddies in the world.
I hope you enjoyed that book. If you're wondering, the part that I thought was really funny was when she said, "So, I drew some legs on my sausage and then school was over." I just think that's very funny because it's such an absurd sentence. Like, when in real life would you ever put legs on a sausage and then school be over? It doesn't make sense. It's great. I love it. Anyway, at the beginning of the story, I told you that there are a few things that I found very odd about this book. And the first is that she has 7 daddies, which is pretty odd because we're only used to having 1 parent or 2 parents, and she has 8 parents. That's a lot of parents. And the fact that all of them, except for 1, are daddies, that's also kind of strange. Another odd thing about this book is that their daddies were little, itty bitty daddies, like little dolls. So those are the obvious ones. Those are the ones that we all notice. And then there was one more thing. I'm wondering if you noticed the same thing I did. The other odd thing that I noticed is that all her daddies are exactly the same. They're identical. So their faces are the same, their bodies are the same, their clothes are the same, they have the same job, they all read the newspaper in the same couch at the same time, they all go to the bathroom at the same time. It's very strange. Like, if you think about the people in your life, the adults or the kids, anybody, do you know any two people who are exactly the same? Always do the same things at the same time, wearing the same clothes, saying the same kinds of things? Probably not. I don't think that even exists. But it exists in this book. It almost seems like there used to be one single person, and then something happened and he split into 7 mini versions of himself. And maybe that's why they have all the same memories, like of doing bird calls and building birdhouses when they were little. I'm not sure. It just seems odd to me that Elsmerie's mom would decide to marry 7 of the same exact person. Because you'd think that she would have a more interesting life if her husbands were at least a little bit different. But to each their own. Anyway, so this is the book that I am including in my project. And if you're interested, I'm going to write in the description the other books that I included because they're pretty good and very different from this one. Thanks for watching.